Welcome to another edition of The Manual. He is the Professor Woods. I am Chip Rice. And man, did you see? Man, did you see Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals?
I did. Borderline classic.
It was. I thought Miami was dead in the water.
I thought so,
when
too.
they got within 6, I said, okay, they got a chance. But when it ran back up to 13, I said, no. I said, that's it.
But Jimmy B
Jimmy Buckets
said not so.
He's a bad man. He's a bad man. And so it's hard to get on him for that last shot, taking the 3. The man that played 48 minutes.
That's right.
It's hard to get on because he's the one that drugged them to the finish line.
Yeah, but it's not his shot. It's not his shot. Going to the rim, he is borderline automatic in those situations.
Yep.
But so I thought it was a bad shot, and it felt like it was slow motion for me as he's coming down court, and you kind of watching everybody separate and spread.
Right,
and I'm like, oh my, he is gonna take this 3-point shot.
Take this shot.
And I'm like, don't do it, don't do it.
But, right.
But
I said, I'm in the house hollering, no. You know, that's one of those no's where it's like, if they hit it, you're like, whoa, big shot. But then if they don't, you're like, if he had just taken him to the cup.
That's it.
I think he could have got him at the rim, but,
Yeah, but an interesting conversation is there's an unwritten rule about MVPs, and now they have conference MVPs now. That's a new thing, right? But MVPs kind of coming from the winning team. But when I think about most valuable player, Jimmy Butler by far is the most valuable player
in that series.
Yes. Meaning without Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat is swept.
Right.
They're swept. Now listen, Jason Tatum is a bad man. There's no question. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, they're all really good players. But relative to contribution and importance to the team,
most valuable players, without question, Jimmy
Butler. Otherwise, you could have turned this off a week ago.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't even been here.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Jimmy Butler, it's not so. And you got to give kudos to Spoelstra and everybody.
Yes.
They coached that team into a position to actually be successful.
He better get him some guards, though. He needs some guard help going into next year.
They gonna need another big too. Love for Bam because he's from around this region, but they could have used a lot more from him in the series.
Yeah.
This is The Manual. So, there's a lot going on in our country. We've been really looking at everything that's happening in Uvalde, Texas, at the elementary school there. Coincidentally or not, we're sitting in front of an elementary school, and I was just thinking when we were sitting here, how would I react if this had happened in our community? And the people here, the people the administrators, the staff, the children that here, how would I have reacted under those circumstances? I can only imagine what some of those parents and the people are going through, and now you're getting the added scrutiny.
There you go.
Of did they respond correctly? Did they respond in time? Why did they wait outside so long? And so that's starting to unfold. And so now they got to deal with grief as well as the added trauma of maybe my child could have been alive if somebody had done this or somebody had done that. Realistic things that are happening. Yeah. So, we just, man, we feel so bad for the people in Texas at the elementary school, praying your strength, praying that God just give you insight, to help you through this, because there's not a whole lot you could say.
No.
But I thought to myself, in situations like this, a lot of times people say, where was God? where was God when all of this happened? Because, some people are getting a little miffed with saying thoughts and prayers.
That's right.
Me personally, because I'm saying, okay, y'all keep saying thoughts and prayers, but y'all don't want to do anything to stem this tide of murder that's taking place, especially in America. We don't want to honor God. We don't want to change gun laws so that there are more barriers in place to keep from people doing stuff like this. You're 18 and you can go get a semi-automatic weapon.
Assault rifle, yeah, that's crazy.
Assault rifle and all the bullets that you want at 18. It makes sense for the military because it's being supplied by the government under controlled circumstances.
Correct.
But for the common man, we buy stuff just because we thought, oh man, this is
cool.
Yeah, it's cool right here, But it's not like, we're saying, okay, if somebody told me that I couldn't have an assault rifle, okay.
Right.
That's not changing my life in one way or another.
It's not.
And so I'm wondering why, people are just all up in arms, pun intended, about all of this. But people ask, where was God? Where was God when all of this was happening? And I think that a lot of times we try to place emphasis on where God was instead of where were we.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Man,
there's a lot to unpack in this situation. One of the things that I think starts to get into the where was God, and I'm pulling it up right now to make sure I quote it correctly, but apparently Jamie Foxx, I guess he tweeted, "Little angels, my heart goes out to your families. Never thought I'd live in a society, a Christian society, where they would let little children die over and over again and still not change any laws. If the people in this country are leaders and so-called Christians, if they're going to heaven, I'll pass."
wow.
Right?
Wow.
And so it's amazing, and then hashtag the devil is busy. And so I guess my response to Jamie Foxx and others who share similar sentiments is, you're right, the devil is busy.
He is busy.
He is busy, been busy for a long time.
He is.
And we're only willing to acknowledge his busyness when we can't come up with an answer.
Right.
When we're out here doing what we want to do, and sinning that's not turning into murder, we don't think of that as the devil.
He's not busy at the strip club.
No.
He's not busy. When we doing lines, he's not busy. When we are
lying.
when we stealing.
When you're in the wrong bedroom.
Right.
Yeah, he ain't busy.
He's not busy when we with everybody but our wife.
Yeah.
So he's busy then. He's not busy.
He's
then.
not busy then.
But now he's busy when our babies are getting killed.
That's right.
And we have to face it that he is busy. His agenda, based on what we know, is to steal, kill, and destroy.
That's right.
But he's not pulling triggers.
No, he's not. And so let's start first with because I think some of the time the God question comes up because the Christian critique comes up. Right? So now we've decided that because certain groups of people are conservative in nature and profess Christianity, that now they speak for all of the Christian body.
Which is ridiculous.
Right? I mean, the slave owners misused the Bible to justify slavery. Right? So just like any doctrine, any belief system, any organization, I know in the frat, sometimes we used to say every brother ain't a brother.
Wow.
Right? Because
even in an organization that you invested in,
Yeah.
that you paid to get
Yeah.
in, that
Yeah.
you've taken wood to get in and everything else.
Absolutely.
Yet, even with all of that, somebody can still turn left and do what they want to do.
They can still do what they want to do. And Christianity is no different.
No different.
And what we then do is use that to critique God. Right? Because we do stupid stuff and say stupid stuff and lie and misrepresent our faith and all of those things. Now, some kind of way that falls back on God.
Right. That's his fault.
Right. So we're in a situation now where it is absolutely appalling to me that kids are being mowed down in the classroom. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I'm a guns owner, right? I mean, so I'm not, I'm not up in arms about the fact that civilians own guns. I've never had the thought of mowing anybody down.
Right.
Right. But there's a piece to this that I did find interesting also, because we can talk about the guns, and I do believe mental health, better registry and databases to track guns, and I do think we should absolutely change the age for purchasing weapons.
Right.
Like let's start there.
Yeah, non-military.
Forget Democrat, Republican.
Right.
At this point, you can just decide you have to be 25 or older or 30 or older. Pick a number before you can legally purchase any gun. Any gun.
So I would say, I don't know. I have to think that through, because I'm just thinking about, okay, what age can you do certain things? Like, you can't, in most states, you can't even drink until you're 21.
21, right.
You know, so.
But you can vote at 18.
Yeah, you can vote at 18.
So I can cognizant enough to make a decision about the leadership of the country at 18, but I recognize that the danger of this situation requires a different level of maturity.
Okay, so I can agree with that. So yeah, I would want to flesh that out, and because that would help me have a change of mentality to say some things are not meant to be in the hands of some people.
Right.
So, I mean, because even from a developmental standpoint,
correct,
and how people process and what they go through, there's stuff that I got upset about in middle school that I wouldn't think twice about.
Wouldn't think twice about. There's a reason why your driver's license is set up at a certain age. There are kids out here 12 years old who are bigger than you and I. So physically, they could sit in a car. They drive it on video games. They can maneuver it. But do they have the maturity and the mental makeup to handle something that could be detrimental to them and others?
Absolutely.
Right.
So now what we're saying is that you can be bigger, you can have certain physical qualities, but not have the mentality to be able to do certain things.
Absolutely. And I mean, let's be honest. We're talking to mostly men here, I imagine. How many of us, if you look back when you were 18?
Right.
I don't even know if I need to say much more. Just look back to when you were 18.
Right. I don't need a weapon, I don't need none of that, because, you know, we had some dirty stuff going on. You know, everything, when you 18, it's
we were not responsible. We were not responsible. We were not mature, and putting that kind of power. Forget the mental illness part, which is also a factor here, but just a typical 18-year-old putting that type of power in their hands. And nowadays, by the way, we get into these video games that we play all day that desensitize death. We get into our inability to cope, right, with societal swings back and forth and all of those things. It's just crazy, man. I think, to me, Democrat or Republican or independent.
Whatever.
We should all be able to come together and say, let's just think about how many. What was my man that came down? He drove. Was it in Wisconsin where he shot the guy? He had an assault rifle. He shot the guy in the protest.
Yeah.
Kyle was it Rittenhouse?
That might
no,
be
whatever. You know what I'm saying. My point is, wasn't he 18 too?
Yep.
So I guess where I'm going is just a simple age change, right? Could at least start to affect some of this stuff,
right?
Because at 18. You might have graduated from high school last week, and in this case, I know the kid went to a elementary school, but I mean, you know how mean kids are in middle school and high school. So I graduate, my birthday's that summer. I'm only a few months away from being bullied and talked about, and now, boom, here we go. I'm gonna get them. You know, that's one piece. The second piece is, and I saw this at a gun show, and I didn't understand it then. Full transparency, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but why in the world would a civilian need to have access to body armor?
Right. There's no reason.
There's no reason. I'm thinking about the Buffalo situation too. Why do you?
If the boy doesn't have body armor,
yes,
all of those people don't die.
All of those people don't die. That's my point. So to me, we don't have to fight with the NRA. We don't have to deal with our ideological differences to make two material changes that we should be able to push through in a weekend.
Right.
Change the legal age. And take things like body armor and those other things, just remove that from the equation. Remove it from the equation, right? And then at least, we're starting to move, right? But anyway, point is, I know I just go off on a tangent a little bit.
So what that does is, but all of this is based on us.
Based on us.
God ain't got nothing.
God has given us the free will to make those decisions. He's given us
the ability to make choices, and yet we keep making bad choices. Right. But then we want to blame God. God, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you step in? Then So let's take it to the spiritual level. So you look at prayerlessness as far as people are concerned. You look at the lack of us coming together corporately.
Yes, yes.
Even in COVID, it's like we're the country is starting to come out of COVID, but people are saying people will go everywhere but church.
Everywhere but church.
And so you have this mentality that, I'm on my own, I can do my own thing, I don't need God until you do.
Until you do.
And then something like this happens and you want to blame Christians, you want to blame religious leaders and say, okay, where's your God? And God is saying, I've been here the whole time. He started out like this. A man in the garden, a woman in the garden making a poor decision.
Bad decision.
But he let them make the decision. And then and his question was, where are you?
Where are you? Right. So where's God? In the same place he's always been.
Same place.
Sitting on the throne, waiting on us to do right. Giving us every opportunity to fix it and do right.
Equipping us with everything we need.
So here's my thing. Because, it's real popular nowadays. It's amazing how society only wants to talk about Christians.
Right.
But where's the Hindu God? In this, because last I checked, he ain't stop it either, or whatever.
Right.
Where's the God of Islam? Where's the God of the Jews? The list goes on and on. But guess what? Them kids still died.
They still died.
So why is it that out of all of the gods that we could ask where they are, the only one we want to talk about is Yahweh? That's because deep in our souls we know that's the real one. If we can be honest.
Right. That's why.
I probably offended somebody right now.
That's why so many fingers are pointed at him, because they're saying, okay, if your God is real.
Yeah.
But you didn't ask about the other ones.
You didn't ask about the other ones. Because other people believe in their gods with the same fervent attention that we do.
Right.
But you never ask, where's your God?
Right. So you also have people who are trying to use this as a platform to say, see, I told you that there is no God.
Yeah,
so
correct.
Believe what I tell you.
Correct.
Believe.
Correct.
Like, that don't make no sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Now, look,
love him. We love
listen,
you, man. But
absolutely. But I'll pass.
Yeah.
So if you pass on heaven.
All right, I'm gonna give him not a pass. I'm gonna give him an opportunity for clarity. Maybe he's saying I'm going to pass on the kind of heaven you're talking about, because then he goes right back.
But
to
there's only
the devil
one.
is busy. There is only one,
right.
But there are people who think they're going to God's heaven, but standing in a garage that make you a car. And so you got these people that are touting, we're Christian, we're everything else, but your heart is evil.
Yeah.
He talked about the Pharisees. Your heart is evil. You can't get into heaven with an evil heart.
Right.
So I know you can ready to get them. So I'm gonna say up front, I can possibly give you a pass if your reference is these guys and what they're saying about being Christian is not the real heaven. I'll pass on that.
Good. Now I'm gonna get him.
All right, go ahead.
So one word, irresponsible.
Yes. Okay,
when you have a platform, and listen, whatever your belief system is, just be clear about it. That way we don't have to bounce back and forth.
Right.
So reading that tweet, what I can't tell, I think what you say is reasonable. That might have been his logic, right? What I would add on to that though is the fact that I can't tell what his logic is the problem.
Right.
Right. So if he says, if Jamie Foxx comes out and says, and this is why I can't be a believer, because this is what y'all say and this is what y'all do, and that bothers me.
Right.
Even though I don't agree, I at least know where you
stand.
Okay. If it's I am a believer and y'all are fake, then call them out for being fake.
Right.
I know where you stand.
Right.
This ambiguous statement that seems to throw shade at Christianity and maybe even heaven, depending on how you look at it, and then comes back with the devil is busy, which you can't believe in the devil without believing in God. So
right.
so it's just we just emotional and irresponsible, right? And people of certain stature have a responsibility to use their platform wise.
Because there are people out here, especially in this dispensation, that don't have enough, that are not biblically astute enough, don't know enough about God to take that as,
That's
well,
right.
Then I don't care nothing about being a Christian. I'm going to just be my own person. And now we miss our witness opportunity.
That's right. It is, we absolutely have to do better, because within the body, when we criticize each other without clarity, we offer people an excuse to not make the changes in their life that they should make.
Right.
And that's my issue. If you're not a believer, then so be it. Just say that, so at least people are not, they know who they're listening to. They know who they're reading about. They know who they're following. But there's so many people who just pretend to be one thing. Right. And then when you get in these moments, they say things, you know what I'm saying? And you're sitting there like, where did that come from? So it's irresponsible.
Your speech has betrayed you.
Yes.
Because now we know that either there's very low depth of your relationship with God or none at all.
Right.
Which is something that you need to correct.
Right, because I'm sitting here like, is he not a believer and just kind of trying to stay in the middle of the road to not alienate somebody? Mm-hmm. Is he a believer, but he's having his own doubts and now he's just kind of putting that out there? We're like, what is that? You know, because for me, I'm a believer, and honestly, no different than our former president who's running across to take photo ops on the front of the church. I think he had a Bible upside down when he was holding his hand. I mean, come on. So somebody's talking about, oh, that's a Christian. No.
That don't mean nothing.
That doesn't mean a thing.
It
doesn't mean a thing. Like you said, I go stand in the garage, that doesn't make me a car.
It doesn't make you a car.
Right? And so we need to stop with all of that, right? And stop putting stuff on God. He gave you choice. He didn't want us to make them babies out of wedlock, but he allowed that to happen.
He allowed that to happen.
Right, but ain't nobody running around with hashtag the devil is busy on that one. You know, he didn't.
The devil was busy when we put down that whole fifth of Hennessy. Right. And so now we want to get all overly spiritual because it's convenient, right? But the reality is this: we live in a fallen world. Yeah,
it's a fallen world where the devil is busy. Jamie, you got that one right.
And
the
so
devil is
we.
busy, and so are we, right? And we're willing to play and participate. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get off my high horse, but it's amazing how over time, if you go back in history and you can see the marginalization of faith in our country. Now, since we want to talk about Christianity, let's talk about it, because I'm specifically talking about Christianity. Let's take prayer out of schools.
Yep.
Right. Let's make everything so sanitized that there's no reference to Jesus Christ. Let's completely remove him from society, that we've gotten to the point now where you have the society without him.
And you get
what you get. You get what you get. He didn't leave. We asked him to leave.
Right.
We told him to leave.
Right.
We told him to get
okay,
out.
I'm out, y'all handle it. We're just like, hey, we don't need you anymore. We can do this ourselves, and you get what you get.
That's right. So we got more crime. We got more sexual immorality. We got all the stuff that comes with
fatherlessness. We have more broken families. We have more mental defects. We have more crime on all kinds of
chaos, disruption, division.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got everything that's a symptom of a godless society. But soon as the symptom hits a level that we're unwilling to tolerate, then it's God's fault.
Right, it's his fault.
Come on, man, you can miss me with that.
Yeah, so we got to be real careful about that, trying to blame God. And then we got to be very careful about if we call ourselves Christian.
Yes.
Because Christian means Christ-like. And so you now have to go back and see, does my life look like Jesus? Because if it doesn't, maybe I shouldn't call myself Christian. Maybe I should say that I confessed and believed I got saved, but I'm not a Christian yet because I'm not doing the things that exemplify Christ.
Maybe we should change it to Christian. Maybe that would help people understand. If we change the official pronunciation to Christian, maybe people would be less apt to use it. Because the root word. Because it's some Christophers out there, you know, that they say he Christian, it don't even pop for them, because Chris is you don't see Christ in it.
Yep.
And maybe that's the real issue, that we don't see Christ in Christianity.
Wow.
That might preach one day.
Right. It's also incumbent upon all of us who are saved to up our game. Say, okay, we got to be better examples for the people out here, man. We can't be quote unquote caught slipping.
That's right.
As believers,
right,
and then think that we're still going to have a credible witness in front of people. I heard somebody reference a message that was preached recently. And he talked about the difference between weakness and wickedness. Okay. And so I understand, because I've had points of weakness in my own life.
Yep.
Just a bad decision as a believer. But wickedness is when I just decide I'm going to keep doing whatever it is that I'm doing and still tout the name of God. Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. That we learn how to walk away from sin, how to stop doing some of the things that we're doing because it doesn't exemplify God.
Right.
So I understand that there's a growth process in there, but there are people that need to get wickedness out of your life. You're
Yes,
practicing sin.
Yes, indeed.
And the Bible says there remains no more sacrifice for
That's
it.
right.
So that's it.
That's right.
Wow. So we got to be careful before our society blames God for something that people did.
That's right. That's right.
We did that.
My last plea, let's just forget Christianity for a second because, well, we can't forget Christianity for a second. Let me fix that. Let me just hold that piece to the side for 1 second as I go back to a Bible verse. For the love of money is the root of all evil.
We got that right in America.
We got that
now.
right in America for sure. And I'll use party affiliation for this conversation. I'm not trying to be lazy and irresponsible, but it's just a generic stereotype. I understand there are differences in both parties. But Republicans, and I love some of y'all economic stuff, for real.
For real.
I'm good with some of
Appreciate
that stuff. Appreciate you. But on this one, y'all got to get this thing fixed, man.
You have to.
And listen, I understand that banning weapons might be a huge jump that people are not willing to make. But back to what I said in the beginning, you can't tell me that an 18-year-old should own this weapon. You just can't tell me that.
Right.
You can't tell me
reason
that not only should he own this weapon, but he can own it with lax background checks, with lax mental assessments, and all of the things that are deficient in this system. Y'all can fix that. I understand the NRA's deep in your pockets. I get it. And I know the love of money is the root of all evil. But at some point, you just got to say, you know what? We're not going to lose that much money by making 18, 21, or 25, or whatever the case may be, and just buy us some time to figure this thing out. Do that for the people, because at least the people can see. And I say Republicans because Democrats have been pushing for much more aggressive.
And Democrats, if they propose it, don't start that silliness about who came up with the idea.
It doesn't matter.
Just get together and do this.
Fix it, man.
You're supposed to be a politician first.
That's right.
Not a party person.
That's right.
First.
That's
you
right.
speak for the people.
That's right. So y'all need to fix that ASAP.
Man, we've been a little passionate here on the manual on this podcast because something's got to change for our baby's sake, for our children's sake. So maybe we'll have some more conversation about this moving ahead in the days to come. We'll see. This is the manual. He is the Professor Alton Woods. I am Chip Rice. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Love to have you be a part of the family. Leave your comments so we can look at those and talk about what you want to talk about.
All right. Happy Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I told the people, I was like, I don't know if we're supposed to say Happy Memorial Day because since we're memorized, it's memorial for people who have given their lives. So how about thank you?
Thank you
to all of our veterans and those that serve and those that have given their lives. Thank you to their families and everybody else. We appreciate you. But have a great rest of your day.